All right, welcome to Talking Investing. I am Tom, and as always, this is not financial advice. Today, I want to talk about Bitfarms. They put out their second quarter financial statements this morning. That is the period ended June 30th, 2022. So I want to go through those financial statements, talk about them versus the three things that I said I would be looking for in this quarterly financial statement update. So we talk about Bitcoin and the Bitcoin miners all the time on this channel. So if that's content that you're interested in, please remember to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Also, if everybody could please smash the like button, it helps the video out a lot, it helps the channel out, and it helps get this video out to more people. So I really appreciate that. Okay, let's look at Bitfarms. So if we look at the stock right now, it's at $1.96. It closed at $2 on Friday, so it's down around 2% right now. And again, it has fluctuated from down 5% to up 5% already. So I think people are digesting the financial information. They're reacting to the movement in Bitcoin this morning, and I'm sure there'll be a reaction after the conference call. So we'll see where all this lands. But I want to go through and tell you what I think of their second quarter financial results, because I was looking for some things very specifically. I've talked about it at great length on this channel. Let me tell you the three things that I am looking for in these reports, and I have reiterated this in many videos over the last few weeks. Number one, I want to see how these companies did in the second quarter controlling their direct cost per Bitcoin. I want to know per Bitcoin how much it costs each one of these companies to mine a Bitcoin, because we know what the sales price is, and that, of course, is outside of these companies' control. So the one thing that they can control to an extent is what are their direct costs, most of which are electricity. So I will tell you, Bitfarms has been among the leaders. They're always somewhere in first or second place for the cheapest cost. So they did manage to duplicate those results in this quarter. So we'll look at that. The second thing that I wanted to look for is that management controlled their overhead spending, because with Bitcoin definitely in a bear market, particularly in the second quarter, that seems to have been the absolute bottom. We'll see going forward. In a quarter where Bitcoin was trading at, 18 to 20 month lows, you don't want to see overhead spiraling out of control. So I wanted to take a close look and make sure that these companies were taking care of their business and watching their overhead. So that's the second thing that I'd be looking for. And then the third thing that I wanted to look for was liquidity, because ultimately with Bitcoin down this low, we want to make sure that these companies have the liquidity to get through whatever this bear market is. Now, we've rallied since the end of this quarter and we seem to be up a little. However, we're still at very low prices versus the top from, last November. We're trading at around Bitcoin 24,000 right now. So we want to know, is Bitfarms profitable at Bitcoin 24,000 or 20,000 or 15,000? So, and then we want to see from a balance sheet standpoint, what is their liquidity and what steps are they taking to make sure they maintain the proper liquidity to get to the other side of whatever this bear market is. So those are the three criteria that I was focusing on going into these quarterly earnings. So let's take a look at the report and we'll talk about what they did. Okay, they mined 1,257 Bitcoin in Q2 and 500 Bitcoin in July. So that's outside of Q2. So in Q2, I'll show you a chart. That's the most Bitcoin they've ever mined in a quarter. And now with July set up that way and the way August is going, it looks like they're set to beat that pretty handily next quarter. So this quarter was an all-time record. It looks like next quarter will also be an all-time record. So that's good news. Okay, in the second quarter 2022, we generated positive cash flow from our operations with adjusted EBITDA of $19 million. Delivering strong operational growth, we increased our corporate hash rate by 33% from the beginning of the quarter and by 157% from a year ago to 3.6 exahash per second at June 30th, 2022. We have brought online phase 2 at the bunker build out. We added further gains in our market share, which is now approximately 2% of the Bitcoin network. So that is an all-time high for them. Productivity as measured by Bitcoin per average exahash reached 135 in July, among the best in the industry. By bringing online our first warehouse in Argentina and phase 3 of the bunker build-out, we are targeting 4.2 exahash and 6.0 exahash by the end of the third quarter and year-end respectively. So their original goal when the year began was to get to 8 exahash by the end of the year. They lowered that to 7.2 exahash, and then they lowered that to 6 exahash, where it has stayed for the last several months. So still, while that is off of their plan, and the vast majority of Bitcoin miners are well off of their plan in 2022, getting to 6 exahash would represent significant growth for Bitfarms. That would make them one of the highest growth Bitcoin miners in the year 2022. Okay, financial results for the quarter ended June 30th, 2022. 2022. For this, I want to go deeper into the report and take a look at some of the actual financial information that they give us. Okay, first I'm going to address liquidity because they specifically address that. So remember, that is one of the three things that I was looking for in this quarterly update. By deleveraging our balance sheet and increasing financial flexibility, we are better positioned to execute our growth initiatives to drive market share gains and increase production. We optimize resources, deferring $39 million in CapEx spending from the fourth quarter 2022 to the first quarter 2023. At June 30th, 2022, the company held $46 million in cash and 3,144 Bitcoin valued at approximately $62 million. That leaves them with about $100 million of liquidity as of June 30th, which is the period they're reporting on. They sold 3,357 Bitcoin for an aggregate proceeds of $69 million. So they closed on $37 million of equipment financing. They paid down $62 million on their Bitcoin-backed loan facility. And then they raised $9.6 million in net proceeds through their at-the-market equity program. Okay, so I think that's a $500 million equity program. You guys can correct me in the notes if I'm wrong. So they were very judicious with that. $9.6 million is a very small amount to raise. So this is what helped them do what they needed to do to stay liquid and keep going as a business. So they had a mixture of selling their Bitcoin, restructuring their debt, and then issuing a little bit of equity. So I like to see that. That's all three prongs that they utilized in order to stay liquid for the quarter. So I feel good about their liquidity. So here's just a little highlight page from their presentation, which they updated today. So overall, achieved 135 Bitcoin per operating exahash in July. So you guys know this is a calculation that I do every month for every Bitcoin miner. So 135 Bitcoin is very good. It makes them a leader in efficiency per exahash. They got to 3.8 exahash by July 31st, and now they've said by September 30th, they expect to be at 4.2. There's 2 or 3 Bitcoin miners that manage to continue to increase their exahash on a monthly basis, basically all year. So this is one of those companies. Okay, so another thing I said I'd be looking specifically at is how did management do in controlling their overhead? So this is a comparison of Q1, the period ended March 31st, 2022, to this, what they're reporting right now, Q2, the period ended June 30th, 2022. So you can see their total overhead went from 13.8 million to 15.3 million. Once we back out their non-cash compensation, which did increase from 6.1 to 7.9, I know there's going to be some people that don't like that. That is a very big deal for a certain segment of investors. They don't like this non-cash compensation. For me, I don't worry about it. It's a small amount of dilution, and I'd rather have them do this and be incentivized for the companies to succeed than have them be paid out in cash. Because again, this is all about liquidity for these companies. So you can see cash overhead actually reduced from Q1 to Q2, even though their production greatly increased. So to me, this is exactly what I was looking for. Very good management of direct overhead. In fact, a reduction from quarter over quarter. Okay, so here, right in their press release, they say average direct cost of production per Bitcoin. Q2 2022, $9,900 compared to $8,700. So that was up. Energy cost was up across the board. However, you will see that 9.9 is actually still makes them among the leader, if not the leader, in the lowest cost per Bitcoin. So they were able to maintain that. And that's what I was looking for. I'm going to show you a chart of all the companies. Okay, so this is for the first quarter. So I will now update this chart as people are releasing their second quarter results. But in the first quarter of 2022, you'll see that Bitfarms was here basically tied with Marathon. Now, Marathon's results are not very meaningful in the year 2022. Unfortunately, they have drastically shifted what they're doing, and their production is at almost zero. So I'm not really counting Marathon because the facility that they mined all the Bitcoin at so far year to date is now closed, and they will be mining it at a new facility in the future. So we're not quite sure what their cost per coin is. But you'll see Bitfarms in the first quarter was at $10,600. Now, they said $9,900 in the second quarter. However, if you use the financial statements to determine that, it was actually about $11,000 according to the financial statements. So I don't know what the difference is. There may be some exclusions, but just to be consistent, they went from about $10,600 according to their first quarter financial statements to about $11,500 in their second quarter financial statements. So while that still is an increase, it basically leaves them amongst the very top, most cost-effective miners. So those are really the three things that I was going to be looking for. Let's take a look at the chart now. Okay, so as we go to this chart, since I've been talking, Bitcoin is now up 1.75% on the day, and that is among the leaders of all the Bitcoin miners that are publicly traded. However, it's still the middle of the day, so it's actually early in the day, so we're not sure where this is going to end. But just to take a look, you can see Bitfarms recently had a breakout. We were about a month and a half sideways, stuck under $1.50. So for those of you who follow the channel along, you'll know that I was talking about as soon as we can break out of this brick wall, and you can see we ran into this several times, I thought we would quickly move from $1.50 to $2. Well, we did just exactly that. We actually closed at $2 on Friday. So today we've been up and down. At the moment, we're up. We're up 1.75%. We're trading at $2.04. So it would be nice to hold $2. I think these financial reports were very strong. All the bad information in here was stuff that we already knew. So the information that we were able to find out is they did a good job controlling their overhead. They did a good job controlling their direct costs. They managed their liquidity. That was a tough quarter for them. They had to do some things that they probably didn't want to do, but they were able to manage their liquidity to stay liquid. And you can see with the very low cost of mining per Bitcoin, they are still very profitable even at these low Bitcoin numbers. Just to finish out on their chart, I'm not going to really set a price target because this is going to have everything to do with where Bitcoin goes next. What I would like to see is I'd like to see Bitfarms maintain this $2 that they've broken. That was a very important line of resistance. So they did run from $1.50 to $2. If they can maintain $2 as a new line of support, then I think there's good things ahead for them if the Bitcoin rally can continue. So we'll have to wait and see how that goes. And obviously, I'll do my Bitcoin update later in the day today. So that's what I've got for you on Bitfarms for now. Thanks so much for watching. And remember to subscribe to the channel and smash the like button. Thanks again, and we'll see you in the next video.